Hello. Palantir continues to grow and expand its reach within new clients, but also within existing clients. They're signing up and extending multiple contracts on nearly a weekly basis that a lot of people are not understanding and a lot of people are not paying attention to. Just because I don't put it on my channel does not mean that it's not happening. They just extended a contract with the United States Air Force. Palantir expands partnership with the U.S. Space Systems Command. The U.S. Space Systems Command is a lot of different military branches put together, but it's run by the Space Force. They're the main military branch that runs this. This is like the armed forces of Space Force. To explain it super simple. Palantir announced today that the U.S. Space Systems Command, Battle Management Command Control, and Communications awarded Palantir a nearly $54 million license on May 24, 2022 to its 2021 award of $125,500,000. This increases the total value of the contract to $175 million and ensures the continuous delivery of Palantir's data and the decision platform to support national security objectives. And I quote, "The readiness of our nation's Space Force and Air Force is vital to Western security," said Akash Jain, president of Palantir's USG. "We're incredibly honored to continue our partnership with the Air Force, Space Force, and NORAD Northcom as they establish information dominance through scalable and mature software." As you can see, this is not specifically just the Space Force, it's a bunch of different branches within the branches of the United States government. It's very important to see a couple of things here. Number one, Palantir starts relatively small and then they expand their contracts. And this is not native to just this contract. This happens literally on all Palantir contracts. You can see it. It's happening all the time. Nearly every single day, Palantir is getting patents approved that they submitted for around 2 years ago. This also goes under the radar. Palantir, if I'm not mistaken, has over 1,200 patents last time I checked. Palantir is an absolute beast, an absolute monster. And having these Space Force contracts is probably one of the most lucrative contracts we can possibly have. Why? Space is an untapped market. There is a huge potential for space. And as the race for space domination expands, the total addressable market for Palantir expands because the market itself is in its infancy. Nobody knows what the heck is up in space. And Palantir is going to be at the forefront of figuring out how to monetize and how to deliver data, not just in space, but from space back to Earth. Believe it or not, in the entire space, Palantir can find a little object the size of this paper, about the size of a tennis ball, in space. You think that's not impressive? That is freaking remarkable. Palantir has amazing technology called Constellation. And this is what Constellation looks like. Harness the power of satellite constellations to empower decision makers on Earth. Meta Constellation brings hundreds of satellites to bear on your most complex problems. They integrate with a mesh of existing satellites, optimize hundreds of orbital, terrestrial, and aircraft sensors and AI models, and enables users to ask time-sensitive questions across the entire planet. So it's not only do they take their own information, but they take their own information from their own satellites. They mesh it together with a network of other satellites, and they use sensors to get you all of this information. And as you can see from what I just read, it's not just that they get you information in space, they get you information to the Earth. Now, the information that they send you isn't near real time. I remember reading that they try to do it within 30 minutes to 2 hours. Sounds like a lot, but think about it. That's a very short period of time because they don't just send you raw data, they send you preemptive processed data. So they're literally processing the data. So when you get it on Earth, you don't have to reprocess it and reevaluate it. You just have to look at it and be like, oh, wow, that's what it is. And that's truly the power of Palantir. Palantir is really getting its chance to shine, not only in space, which is the next frontier because Earth is all taken, but also a chance to shine in Europe. Yesterday, I showed you guys an article, pictures that Alex Karp met with President Zelensky and the Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine. They talked about a bunch of things. Amongst them is opening up a Palantir office in Ukraine, and they literally said that Palantir will give digital aid to the Ukrainian army. If you think that Palantir has not been in Ukraine for the better part of the last year, You guys are bugging and you have not been paying attention or connecting the dots all around you. Palantir has been aiding Ukraine for quite a while, and why they're able to fight a monster, the big bad wolf, so to speak, like Russia. Palantir is going to get a lot of money that's going to be coming in from NATO, European Union, and Ukraine is probably going to be part of the European Union. This is all going to be pushed and backed by the United States government and the UK government. Palantir is probably going to be the sixth prime of the Department of Defense and the one and only software prime of the Department of Defense. And when you're going to be that software prime, anytime there's a battle, anytime there's anything to do with military, both offensive, but also defensive, you will be reaching out to Palantir. And the huge government contracts will be pouring in, not only nationally within our borders, but internationally outside of our borders. And then probably in outer space, when you have other countries that are exploring outer space, they're going to need data analytics. Who are they going to go to? They're going to go to Palantir that has a huge head start against other companies. Palantir is an absolute beast and is just waiting to explode. What's going to happen, in my personal opinion, not financial advice, is in the next 2 to 3 quarters, we will get an influx of government contracts. We will get an influx of commercial contracts, specifically commercial contracts internationally, government contracts both nationally and internationally. And we will then have a price increase. When that increase of price happens and those contracts come in, you're going to have companies like ARK Invest, Cathie Wood, who's going to start buying up millions and millions of shares, and they're going to justify it by saying, hey, we have the government contracts. This is what we were worried about. Since now you have the government contracts, we're going to be buying more Palantir. When that's going to happen, that's also going to increase the price. And then you're going to have these analysts, these great analysts that never gave Palantir a chance. So it's going to come and they're going to keep increasing the price prediction, and their reports are going to say, oh, Palantir is worth $20, Palantir is worth $25, $30. And each of them are going to be going on top of each other to raise the price to say that they know what they're doing. It's going to be a FOMO tornado, fear of missing out tornado, and everybody's going to start buying Palantir. And then it's going to have that meme-like bull run. That's my personal opinion. If this happens in the next 3 months, 6 months, or a year, I don't know. But I do think that this is going to happen within the next year to year and a half, if I had to throw a guess on it. If it takes longer, great. And if it takes shorter, that's even better for me. Guys, Palantir is a monster, and I'm taking an advantage anytime I get to buy on the dip. I also was watching the jobs report earlier today, and the jobs report has a lot to do with what's happening with inflation and how the Fed is going to be raising or not raising interest rates. The jobs report came out even as it did last month. And unfortunately, in this economy, in order to reduce inflation, you need to get rid of jobs. You need more unemployment. As is more unemployment, people spend less money. As people spend less money, the inflation reduces naturally because there's less demand for discretionary goods and more demand for necessity goods. So I don't think that we're out of the woods yet. I did a live earlier. You can definitely check it out. Thank you.